Hey crafty people! Welcome back to my channel, and in case you're new here, I'm Sarah, also known as Craft Nerd because I'm a nerd who loves to craft. I do paper crafting, card making, junk journaling, and mixed media art. Let's get crafting! So I wasn't originally planning on filming this project, but I started doing it and I was so tickled with how it was coming out that I decided I would go ahead and film it and share it with you guys. So what I'm doing is I'm going to create a windowed pocket page with a windowed journaling card to go in the pocket. It'll make sense as we go along. And I got inspired to do this because I had a bit of a misprint and only half the page printed. And I was like, well, what can I do to utilize this? And I thought, ooh, if I print it out again, I can cut her out and create a window, glue the pages together, and leave it open at the top to create a pocket. And what I wanted to do was make her look a little spookier or creepier when there's something in the pocket. So I've got, this is a journaling card. And this is from a digital kit by GiggleGlitterGFXs. And then I printed out, this is one of the journaling cards from a luiseHeinzl kit. And I printed it on inkjet safe acetate, so it's got a texture side on the back that you print on, and then the front is smooth. And so when we put this in the pocket, it's going to give her that creepy look, which I really love. That's once I tested that out, I was like, ooh, I should do this on video. So what we're going to do first is create a journaling card to go in the pocket that is got an opening, that's got a window that we're going to set the acetate into. And we're also going to, before we're done, put on the back of this page a piece of plastic so that we don't have the journaling card catching, because if we don't do that, we're likely to hit, the bits that are cut up. We're likely to hit these areas from where we cut out the image of the girl. So I've already cut that out, obviously, because I got that far before I decided to film. So I forgot to grab some paper for creating our journaling card. So let me go get that and I'll be right back. I grabbed a piece of bubble dyed copy paper, and choosing copy paper weight is going to turn out to be a mistake, as you'll see later in the video, because it's just a little too flimsy to go in and out of the pocket easily. And it's a US letter size piece of paper, which means it's 8.5 by 11 inches long, and folded in half, that makes it 8.5 by 5.5. Now, my pages in my journal are also US letter size, and so they're 8.5 by 11 and folded in half. The pages are 5.5 by 8.5. So this piece needs to get trimmed down in order to fit in the pocket. And I decided to cut off about 3/4 of an inch from both sides, because the page is folded in half, to trim it down so it'll fit in the pocket. As a result, the page ends up being 4 3/4 inches wide. And I'm going to put away the paper trimmer before I realize I need to make it shorter. And this is me realizing that if I don't want the page sticking out above the pages in the journal, I'm going to need to trim it down shorter. So I grab my paper trimmer back and I end up cutting off a 1/2 inch at the bottom. So the final measurements for the journaling card that we're going to stick in the pocket ends up being 4 3/4 by 8 inches, and that's folded in half for the 4 3/4. So if we open that up, it would be 9.5 inches wide. Now I'm getting ready to glue the other half of the page together. And I decided to create a tuck spot on the side. And so I'm going to glue down the center seam and across the top and the bottom of the opposite page from where we're going to put our window pocket. And at this point, I realize I need to make sure the cut out window page matches correctly with the base page. So I decided to pull out my Wendy Vecchi Make Art station to help hold the pieces in place so that my window lines up properly with the page it goes on, since it's a cutout that matches. So I'm going to line that up and use the magnets to hold it in place while I'm gluing the opposite side down. Okay, so I may have just recorded voiceover for that last section because I got up to let my dog out and realized I forgot to turn on the new microphone I got, but I had plugged the receiver into my phone, so I have no idea if it recorded any audio during the last segment. Okay, so what we're going to do now is decide where this is going to fit in our piece here. And I'm definitely going to make sure when we glue it so it fits properly. And I'm going to take a pencil and draw our shape roughly onto our piece of paper, because we're going to have to cut a window out for putting our acetate piece. You know what? Let's do this again, because what I'm also going to do, now that that's in place, put a magnet down. I am going to mark on this piece where it sits, because for this to work, we got to be pretty precise in where this is going to sit. Otherwise, it's not going to quite work. So let's make sure I can see that line. Yes, you may not be able to see it, but I can see it. So that's good enough. All right. So now what we need to do, fold this over. Good grief. I have no idea what I left on this that is like getting on everything. So let me grab a cloth and clean them. Okay. So I'm folding this over, making sure this is good, because I want to make sure when we glue down, we're all good. So, all right. Now I'm going to set this aside, and we're going to work on our acetate window. Oh, wait, no. First, we're going to figure out how we're going to do this. I know how we're going to do this. We are going to put her in position and decide where she goes. We're going to grab some low tack, very low tack tape. I actually stuck it on my leg to make it even less sticky. So let's make sure we've got her positioned where we want her. That's where we want her. I'm just going to put some tape here, some tape there. Lift our page up. She's stuck there. Put this back into position. Flip this back over. And I'm going to draw. That does not seem like it's in the correct position. There. All right, so that should be lined up correctly. There we go. Okay, I set that down, grab my pencil again, draw a line here. And a line here. Because what we're going to do is cut out this section here. I'm going to leave this down here, and we'll just erase any pencil marks that are still showing. I'm going to grab my fingertip trimmer to do this, and a ruler for the straight line. And I want to cut our opening a little bit smaller, because I don't want to have blank spots showing, essentially. And I get through both layers? I did. Excellent. All right, now for this one, I'm going to just come just inside the line. And there we go. Let's erase all of our lines. Okay, so let's bring our image back over. And she is going to go in like so. I may need to trim some on the side off. Need a white piece of paper so I can see what I'm doing. There we go. All right, I may need to trim some from the outside edge off so that this lines up right. Let's see. I do that. Actually, let's do this. Let's line that up where it goes. And then line that back where it goes. Yes, I need to take a little off. And since I've got space that won't show because it'll get sandwiched, and so I'm going to trim a little extra off on either side just so I don't have to worry about it. And let's pull over our Wendy Vecchi again. I'm pretty much making this up as I go along, so it's one of those, I had the idea in my head and I'm like, let's just go for it. And so yeah, there's a little bit of winging it here. All right, so let's line her up again where we want her face. All right. We want that there. So let's retape that into position here. Then we're going to take our journaling card because you've got plenty of space on the bottom. The back will be left completely plain. I do have some plans for additional decorations to go over here. Since it will show through the window, I'm going to line this up where it's supposed to go. Open it up. Put a magnet there, down here, and then flip this over and put her in place. And it's still lined up how I want it to be lined up. So that's where it's going to go. And if I was thinking, I would have put the glue down before I did that, but this way I could check. I've got the tape, so what we'll do is we'll hinge it up, put glue a good way away on the side and over here. And I'm putting her face back down first to make sure it's lined up how I want it. And then squish it over here and squish it over there. Now we are going to close this. Uh-oh. Oh wait, this shifted. Okay. Like, yep, we're good. We're good. I'm going to close this up. Get that out of the way in case we get any glue oozing out of the piece. Now I'm using art glitter glue. You of course can use whatever glue you like. Definitely have a few spots along the edges. I didn't get close enough, so I'm just gonna make sure it's glued together properly. Now there are a couple spots here where it's kind of like pulling up a little more than I'd like. So I'm going to add a little bit more glue under here and just gently push it down. All right, so next step, we are going to put this guy back in place and make sure it's all lined up properly. I'm going to do this and this and glue close but not right up to it. Actually, I'm going to get as close. The bottom, I think, needs it the most, like needs to be the closest so it doesn't go down too far. Let's get a little closer on this side, just to be on the safe side, but not so close that we're going to have an issue getting it in. And then I'm going to just add a little bit more glue along the edge. And close this up. Oh, no, no, no. Oof. Because I forgot I wanted to put a piece of clear plastic over this so that we didn't have things getting hung up on the area I cut out. Okay, so this is just a piece of packaging from one of the many craft supplies I've bought recently that came in plastic packaging. So I'm going to just trim where it's folded. And then trim this off because this is a double layer and I only want one layer. Double check. Yes, it fits over that area. Let's put it down. Glad I caught that. Otherwise, I would have been very sad. Oh, and Puppy's getting antsy-pantsy again. All right, let's sure that's in place. And wow, I put way more glue down than I needed. Gonna wipe off the excess glue because otherwise it's gonna glue our pocket shut. I'm also going to make sure I've got all of the edges of this glued down well, otherwise things will catch on it. We don't want that. Okay. Now let's do this again. So I had it upside down. Now it's flipped right round. And she's lined up where I want her. All right, let's try this one more time. Hopefully I'm on camera and you can see me putting glue along the bottom, but I'm just basically putting glue as close as I dare to this piece. And I just got some glue on it, which I'll wipe off here in a sec. And then some additional glue to the side just to make sure it stays nicely closed. And we will move this out of the way. I have literally no room on my desk right now. None. Things are exploding everywhere. All right, let's close this up this time. And now that we've done that, we should be able to slide this in, have it line up exactly where it should be. And yeah, it's going to take a little bit of working. What I'm going to do is grab a thing I can't find because my desk probably ate it because that's where we're at. All right, let's stick our ruler in. Just going to do this, try and make sure it It will slide in hopefully better this time around. You know what? I'm going to help myself along a little bit, and we're going to round these corners at the bottom at least. We may decide to do something different at the top, but if I round the corners at the bottom, it will go in easier. I'm beginning to think I should have used a firmer paper for this. May need to back it with something a little stronger because I think that's what's causing the problem. Oh, come on. No, it's not wanting to go in. This is making me sad. All right, come on. Get your butt in there. Yeah, I debated whether I wanted to use tea-dyed copy paper or cardstock, and I thought cardstock would be too bulky. And now I'm thinking I need the cardstock to firm this up because it's too soft. Like I can't get it to go in all the way. I still think I'm going to need to come up with something to make it a little firmer so that it'll go in better. But there we go. We got it in. And so she's got spooky face. Is she lined up right? She is. We've got spooky face going on. And yeah, I want to do some decorating to make this less noticeable. And so that is going to be our next step. Ooh, let's fold this in half and reinforce this fold. We've definitely added some bulk here. Let's do that. And that white that's sticking over, I'll just trim that off. But yeah, I have a feeling what we're going to end up doing is adding some cardstock, at least maybe to the bottom. I'm going to go let a dog out and figure out what I want to do. I'll be back. Okay, so I am back. I did go ahead and add a piece of cardstock to the back. And that's just, you know, regular 65-pound weight cardstock. And what I did so that I could make sure I cut out the right shape from the piece of cardstock so that our window would still be open is I took a piece of carbon paper and put it down so that I could trace around the opening and then cut it out. And I highly recommend, if you're going to do this project, to start out with cardstock to begin with so that you don't have to do this, or if you're using copy paper, to attach the piece of cardstock before you cut your opening so it's all matched up perfectly and you don't have to fiddle around with a fix afterwards. All right, I'm going to grab back my piece of white paper because I just like it better when I can see her face. What I also did was I stamped and cut out some crochet pieces. It's Crochet Trims CMS 480, and I will admit I bought the coordinating dies that Simon Said Stamp made for these, so I went ahead and stamped them and cut them out, and I figured we'd just put them down along here, kind of layered up as like a trim to decorate the edge so that when it's in the pocket, it's pretty down here. But before we put it on, I want to ink it because I just stamped it on some scrap white paper and I don't think that color goes great with what we're doing. I think I want to turn it gray. So I am going to grab, all right, I'm going to grab some Hickory Smoke Distress ink and just ink these guys up. Okay, so let's bring our piece back over. And what I was thinking is this would go as the top layer. And I think I'm going to go ahead and trim off, because what I'm probably going to want to do is glue from the bottom up, but I don't want to completely glue over here because I think we're probably going to use one of the cutoff pieces up here because there's a bit of this that shows when you put it in the piece. So let's, you know what, we're going to lightly tack them together, I think is what we're going to do. So this is going to be my bottom. I'm going to put glue on most of these little dots, but not all of them. I really think there's a chance my art glitter glue is having issues because it's too old. I hope it's not the case, but it's only guaranteed for a year, and it's not been sticking as well lately, but that may also be because it's Florida and it's stinking hot and it doesn't like the heat. All right, I'm going to put glue, and I'm really hoping that this goes down far enough because I put glue on all the little pieces that hang down. I was planning not to do that, but it's too late now. All right, so we're going to trim off, and we can go back and glue anything that needs additional gluing on the side. Now let's see how she fits in to our piece, like if we've got enough coverage down there. Hopefully the layering won't cause too much of an issue with getting it in. I don't think it will, but she's not been wanting to cooperate. And she's doing it again. All right, I'm going to grab this and just try and open this pocket up a little bit more by running my bulb folder along the side here and seeing if that will let it slide in smoother. Yay! Oh no! We have a little bit still showing down here. That does not make me very happy. And I know we've got some of this showing. I think I'm just going to ink there. Let's see if we can. And we've got the bit up here that shows. So let's pull that out. Nope, that is definitely glued down. I may just leave it. Let's do, I'm taking a little brush and I'm just gonna darken along here so it doesn't stand out as much. All right, I need more intense inking. Let's grab a dauber. What I'll do is just take a cloth and rub it over top of the acetate because that's not going to, the ink's not going to adhere very well to the acetate. I'm going to glue that on up there, cover that spot. All right, let's see how it looks in the pocket again. All the way in, there we go. All right, that works at the top to cover that up. The inking worked to knock back that, and so we just have down here see what we can perhaps do with the other two pieces we have cut off. Could potentially do that and that, but I think what I may do is just ink down there. Kind of regretting the choice of using my bubble dyed paper for this, since we're covering most of the bubble dyed paper up between backing it and inking and all that. I feel like it needs some more decorating. I also feel like I want to do something up at the corners, round them, something. Give me a second to pull out some stuff so we can do some more decorating in the areas that show when you pull this out, and I'll decide what I want to do at the top. Okay, I've pulled out some stamps. What I think I'm going to try and do is kind of curve this around and stamp it. Let's see if I can get it to stick on the block like that. Okay, we're going to give this a try. Fingers crossed it works. I'm going to use Versafine. Oh, which, when I stamp these, I stamped them using Versafine Onyx Black, and I embossed it with clear embossing powder. I am going to stick this scrap piece of paper here so I don't accidentally stamp where I don't want to stamp, and we're going to put our mouse pad down. Doesn't necessarily have to be perfect. I'm not necessarily going for perfection when I do this, but I would like it to not be horrible. That's not horrible. What I'm going to do is grab a paper towel, because this is never going to dry on the acetate. Never going to dry. So I'm just going to wipe that off. I do kind of like the fact that it just adds a little interest. I'm going to ink the very edge of this to kind of finish this spot off, kind of like that. That works. All right. I'm going to clean off the stamp and do the same thing on the other side. Again, I'm going to wipe the ink that got on to the acetate off, because it's never going to dry on there. And do the same thing here that I did over there. Now I've grabbed, this is from Rest in Peace CMS 435. And I'm going to stamp it down there. And again, I'm going to use the Versafine Onyx Black. I'm going to do that guy there. Then I want to take, this is Undertaker CMS 240, and I'm going to take the spider and stamp him there. Actually, you know what? Let's do him here. He'll stand out better. I like that. Let's see. I think I want to do like a backgroundy stamp. And that I'm going to do with, this is another one from the Undertaker. And this one, since I am doing it as kind of a background, I am going to stamp it with Hickory Smoke. And I'm probably going to, let's see how dark it's going to come out. Oh, that's good. Wow, that didn't come out at all. Let's try that again. Yeah, you can barely see it. It's just adding a little more interest and texture to the background. I like that. Looking, I'm trying to decide up top. Oh, I know what I just wanted to do for the top. I'm going to grab my Crocodile's Corner Trumper. It's the Cloud and Scallop, and we're going to do the Scallop. I am also grabbing my whale tail punch and a piece of scrap paper. Let's see how far I have to go. That should be good. And this is a printable by Polka Art Studio. Yep. All right. I'll put that on like so. Let's go ahead and do that. Actually, let's ink our edges first. Now, what I'm trying to decide is, do I want to decorate and like stamp a whole bunch of stuff up here or leave it plain as it is? I think I want to leave it plain because I like the pattern on my paper from the bubble dyeing. So let's stick this back. Ooh, 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 ooh. Yep, we need to do some gluing down because that little bit's coming up. Make sure nobody else is sticking up on the side. All right. Slide it in. Definitely goes in better when I place it flat on the table. And so now that we have the tab, it's going to be easier to pull it out. Oh, that looks so cool. I don't know how well it's showing up. Oh, it's actually showing up fairly good on camera. So that's what it looks like with our tag in, or journaling card, or whatever you want to call it. And that's what it looks like with it out. So that's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, please do all the things that lets YouTube know you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave me a comment down below. Thanks for joining me, and happy crafting!